Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We bring you stories of faith, love, and devotion. Yeah, just kidding, please help us grow by hitting that like button. Now on to the story. I received a 911 call that led to me finding out he was cheating. So I worked for several years as a 911 dispatcher for the county in which I live. Brief background: a 911 dispatcher communicates to the police via radio and sends them to the 911 calls that are being received. It may be to a call that you personally take simultaneously, or you may just be reading the notes to the police as another call taker enters the information they're receiving from the caller. A police dispatcher also runs license plates and driver's licenses for the cop when they pull people over, and tell them if anything is expired or if there's a warrant, etc. Every night I went to work, I dispatched for a different township within the county. So, I worked with each different township's police department on a rotating basis, depending on the day. Now that you know how things work, I'll begin. This particular night of work was a Saturday, and I was dispatching for my favorite township, the one in which I personally grew up, know many of the police, and attended high school. I received a 911 call at around 11:30 p.m. about a suspicious vehicle parked in a parking lot of a park, which closes at sundown, so there really shouldn't be any cars there. I dispatched one of my officers to the location, and upon his arrival, he gave me a license plate to run to see whose vehicle it might be. As I'm running the plate, he gets on the radio and says the engine is still warm. I'm gonna look around. I asked if he wanted backup, he declined. I get the plate info back, and there it is. The car is my, now ex-boyfriend's car. We'll call him Steve. At this point, I was internally panicking. Why is Steve parked in a park in the woods so late on a Saturday night? The officer got back on the radio a few minutes later after I told him the name of the owner of the vehicle and that the cat came back up to date with no warrants, etc., and said, "Hold on, I see a male and a female emerging from the woods. I'll give you driver's license numbers in a minute." So then I waited the longest 30 seconds of my life to run this license number and figure out who he is so obviously cheating on me with. I ran the licenses. There was his picture that popped up with his face. And there, on the second license, was his ex-girlfriend who he had dated just months before he and I met. No warrants, I told the cop. They said they were just frog hunting in the woods. You can disregard status checks, he replies. Clearly that's not a real thing that you just happen to do with your ex at midnight. Now, however badly I wanted to text him at that moment, I didn't. I waited until the next morning and we chatted on the phone and I asked what he got into the night before. He said he was so tired from work that he just passed out early. I said, "Oh really? I heard you got stopped by the police last night." That spineless bastard hung up right then and there, and I never heard from him again. TLDR, I'm so glad that I chose to work overtime that night, or I may never have found out. This was several years ago now, but it really reinforced my belief that everything happens for a reason. 4 months later, I met my now husband, and we have 2 beautiful little boys. Just wanted to share my crazy story. Frog hunting? You're right, he comes out of the woods with a woman at about midnight. Ha. Glad everything worked out for you. I'm going to see if my spouse wants to go frog hunting tonight. Lol. He was successful. X is a toad. I have never heard it called a frog before, lol, but he was hunting for it. What a waste of a guy. Glad op found out without any doubt. Hopefully he croaks from regret. Frog hunting? I'm going to have to use that euphemism. Would love to see it catch on. We're going out to do some frog hunting. He seriously never talked to you again after that? What a douche. Good story, even a happy ending. I was hooked to the end. Sorry that happened to you. My wife was a dispatcher for several years. I was a volunteer firefighter/EMT for over 20 years in a very rural county. Oh, the stories we could tell. Oh, he was hunting frog all right, embarrassed smiley face. At least they weren't snipe hunting. I went frog hunting and now I'm going to have a baby. Frog hunting, huh? Is that what they're calling it these days? What is the recommended type of birth control for women going frog hunting? I'm not sure, thoughtful face, but hopefully something to keep your tadpoles in check. As I understand it, frog hunting in the woods at midnight with an ex is a very popular and common activity. Smile, he did you a huge favor by hanging up and going full North Carolina. What luck. Oh my god, he just hung up right there and then? Ha 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 ha. I'm so sorry for laughing, I know that must have hurt, but oh my god, ha ha ha, bruh didn't even try. He ended up texting me a few months later to say how he didn't actually cheat on me, and that I was his whole world and he missed me, etc. We had been together for a year when he went to North Carolina. Dude was a straight narcissist. I never replied. This was all about 7 years ago now. I'm so glad I found out, or my life could have been very different. Story 2. He got arrested for being dumb. Rant TLDR, my 23F husband, 29M, got caught in a sting operation because he sent nudes to a minor and attempted to meet her. I honestly DK what to do. I'm still in shock. I moved to this country for this man, left my friends and family to start a life with him. We moved to a new state, just me and him, bought a house, started a garden and started building our home. He got a better paying job that allowed him to travel for work. On one of his business trips he says he got bored and went on Omegle to meet local people, because that's what we do, right? He met some girl and things got sexual and he changes his return flight back earlier, and drives 2 hours out of his way to go meet her. Unbeknownst to me, who still had the later arrival time in her head. His flight lands, my husband hasn't come home, he isn't answering his phone or texts. I start scouring the news cause surely there must have been an accident. We have no family/friends here, so there's no one I can really call. I'm freaking out, I'm scared, where he is and what's happened to him. Around 10 p.m., his flight should have landed around 6:30, I got a call from a county jail 2 hours away from my husband. He begs me to call his parents, email his work and get a lawyer. I'm even more terrified cause WTF? Are you okay? What happened? Are you safe? What do I need to do? 2.5 days of no sleep, 6 hours across 60 hours, no eating and one hefty bail later. This man comes home crying and tells me that he effed up so bad and he's messed up and how he changed his flight earlier to take care of this activity so he could come home and surprise me. You bet I'm surprised. The kicker is that whilst he was driving to meet said girl, who after some talking said she was 16, he said he kept thinking about me and how he would love to come home to me and watch our faff show together. This man is bawling and is so full of regret and, I just want to scream. He had an arraignment early in the morning in the same town as his infidelity and wanted me to come support. We now are heading so damn far to sort out bonds and all that. I'm furious, I'm so pissed. Today could have been normal. We could have been doing our respective jobs and my biggest problem would be deciding what to make for dinner. We had very little issues, we're basically best friends with our shared hobbies, love for each other. If you came to me 3 days earlier, I'd have said my life was perfect. Now, his around the hour apologies are sounding hollow no matter how sincere he wants them to be. His tears are getting on my nerves. He claims that we can get through this, he will work hard to regain/rebuild my trust. You know what hurts me? I'm in the process of applying for my marriage green card/visa. I had such a bright future and I gave it away to be with this man. I haven't been able to work or drive since being here, I did both back home, and so I'm basically dependent on him. This man who had such horrible exes and a tragic backstory and wasn't sure if he'd ever find love again, until he met me. His best friend kept me company while we didn't know what was happening and why he was arrested, and I know he doesn't want me telling the friend, but I'm so tired of covering your duck up. I didn't do anything. I don't deserve this. I'd what to do, I just want to scream. And cry. I've been crying a lot. I want to walk away. How dare you do the same thing to me, that you swore would end you? How dare you tell me you want to fight for us and think we can come out stronger? There would be no need to be stronger if we acted with common sense. How dare you talk about hindsight? If you didn't get caught, would I have known? Would you have said anything? I'm too young to be this sad. I'm so upset and angry and sad and disappointed and hurt and Omegle. I know his family is waiting to hear what happened. He could lose his job, the house, everything we worked for. For what? Was IT worth IT? What was the reason? Edit, I never expected so much love and support from my hurried rant written up in a parking lot. I feel so cared for by internet strangers, and I want you all to know, I'm noting all the comments and advice, and even if I am not able to reply to everyone, I'm very grateful you took time to formulate a response. I'm gonna call my mom and sister and make an appointment with both my therapist and a lawyer. I have a lot of work to do from here on out, but I do feel reassured that kind internet strangers have my back and want the best for me. Thank you. He will be labeled a sexual offender for life. Think about that one. He's not sorry, he is sorry he was caught here. Tell everyone the truth here. You don't need to be thrown under the bus he was hit by here. Look up Grey Rock and use it on him, seriously. Look into going back home and distancing yourself. If your marriage is under 3 years, it can be annulled. I've had flashbacks to Nikki and her man, crying face, crying face, crying face. Exactly. I wonder, if he hadn't been caught, would he have said anything? Thank you, I'll definitely look it up. Our marriage is under 3 years, I didn't know that was a thing. There is good advice given in this thread. Chances are very high that this is not his first time doing this, it is just the first time he was caught. When I caught my husband cheating on me with his paid masseuse/sex worker, I kicked him out and started doing deep research. I scoured public records in our county for his name in civil and criminal cases. I had access to his bank accounts, they were in both of our names, so I started downloading all transactions for the last 7 years. I made an entire spreadsheet of all the mysterious cash he withdrew without my knowledge. It was about $35,000 for about a 2 to 3 year period. I then downloaded all of his cell phone bills, which had all of the numbers on it. I found sexting texts on his phone one morning, which he'd accidentally left at home when he went to work. He'd been sexting her, calling her and obsessively keeping tabs on her for years. For years. I found out the sex worker's name, got her addresses, where she worked, all civil and criminal records, etc. I also got her massage therapy license number and will be reporting her for prostitution when the divorce is final. I reported her place of work, a Thai massage parlor, for prostitution to the police. When I started looking into all the details, I noticed distinctive patterns that screamed to me that he was paying for sex and paying her a lot of cash. While I cannot prove in court that the cash went to her, I have some circumstantial evidence that he was paying her bills. Regardless, due to other legal and financial circumstances, he owes me about $400,000, so he'll be paying me back, in a way. If I could report him as a John to the police, I certainly would. My vile soon-to-be ex-husband is a serial cheater, liar, and gaslighter. He'd cheated on past girlfriends too. You must feel so betrayed. Many of us know how you feel. Keep posting here or DM me if you need someone to talk to. I am so sorry you had to go through all of that, and I'm very proud of you for collecting all the info to use against him. How dare he? I am so upset on your behalf. Thank you, I appreciate the ear. I highly recommend that you start digging into things too. I really feel for you and your situation. Being betrayed feels like an extreme pain that only you are experiencing. You are not alone. We are here for you. Update, where my head is at right now rant. I suppose this is long overdue. I am not even sure where to start. I'm on my phone, so please forgive formatting or grammar issues. Original post here. TLDR, my 23F, husband got caught in a sting operation because he sent nudes to a minor and attempted to meet her. Update, after copious amounts of therapy, both singular and plural, he suggested it to help me understand his mind. I still don't, but it is what it is, him being diagnosed with depression, calling my sister and laying it all before her. I'm convinced she's more shocked than I am. Here I am. I immediately made him move into the guest bedroom and we've been sleeping like that ever since. I don't think I'll be fully able to process everything until I'm out of the house fully and with no family and friends nearby who could host. I feel like that's not possible right now. That, and he does not seem to want to leave me alone. Always hovering on the edge of my space and wanting to watch TV or play a game with me. He bought my favorite game and has been playing it religiously. According to his therapist, he needs better distractions/hobbies that orally relieve stress. Mind you, maybe 2 months earlier he said it wasn't his type of game. By myself, I called an immigration lawyer and his words were either leave and never look back or stay and hope his verdict is good so you can try to pick up the pieces. I appreciate the very clear black and white options, but I'm still very upset that I have to now make these decisions for choices that I had no part in. He's also on his apology tour at the moment, which is him doing all the chores/tasks and trying to solve all the concerns/issues that came up earlier in the relationship. He has cried so many tears in relationship therapy as well as just general conversation, you'd really believe he was filled with overwhelming sorrow and grief. Not only does it come across as insanely hollow, but I am filled with resentment that this is what it took to get here. They weren't even insane/demanding tasks, but a lot of things are now placed into perspective. I have been seriously considering a revenge arc just for the fun of it, which would include me staying and getting the green card and just disappearing after I've built sufficient amounts of savings, but that's all dependent on him not being convicted. I think my best bet is to go home and try to rebuild my life as a newly single young woman, but he's also talking about following me wherever I go. He's willing to take the plunge and follow me wherever I end up. If he needs to get a new job and quit this one, he will. Canada. Europe. Wherever you chose, I will be there, Mao sir. We? Anyways, I've tried to give myself grace and not expect the same level of energy that I was used to pre-D-Day, but I'm mostly surprised at the calm I feel. It's almost like relief. I don't hold any hatred towards him, I'm just no longer interested in continuing a romantic relationship with him. I am honestly more sad at all the mugs I'll either have to sell/give away, as they are not all making the flight back. Not to mention my garden, as I know he will not be taking care of those plants. My books, crying face, not the books. I could ramble on for many more paragraphs, but I think I've said it all already. I am not sad that I met him and made the decisions I did, and I had fun. It was fun. I did love him, but it's time for us to go our separate ways. I am going to sort out my items, decide what I want to keep and plan what to tell my family/friends. Thank you for reading and being here and supporting me when I needed it. I'm going to have some ice cream and play video games today. I think I deserve it. Get off this train wreck at the next station and never look back. That's a really nice analogy. Thank you. You need to do what you feel is best. If you want to go back home, there's no way he'll be able to go with you. The courts are not going to allow him to move out of the country with a future trial. He's being unrealistic and selfish. It's okay to be selfish. I wish you the best. Thank you. It's just a matter of cutting off all contact and basically erasing myself from his memory. His reason was depression? Seriously? Lol. Yeah. I tried to hook up with a minor BC. I was depressed, rolling eyes face, leave and don't look back. I've stopped trying to understand. His reasons are his own and so is my decision. I gather you're in the States. If so, being caught up in the sting and sending pictures basically guarantees that he will be convicted. Toe doesn't mean he will get much if any jail time, but he will have to register as a sex offender, could be for a few years or life. Upside toe. This is a felony, so he wouldn't be able to get a passport to follow you legally. Sorry Op, I wish you well. Silver lining I guess. Thanks for the well wishes. Op, I read your prior post, and while I think the chances may be slim if you are in the US, ask your lawyer about the possibility of a U visa. It does have provisions for helping with the prosecution of a criminal case. Basically, secure U visa, get your husband convicted, divorce him and move on. Thank you, I'll look into it and ask my lawyer about its likelihood. The dream TBH, but I see no way out of this situation without repercussions for me. At this point, it's what I am willing to suffer through. You had a bright future? Honey, you have a bright future. Option 1 is, go back home, rebuild, with the help of a supportive group of friends/family. Option 2, stay and hope for the best regarding his legal status so you can get the visa. I don't know much about the legal struggle of obtaining the visa, but I can guess they won't be granting one to the spouse of a sexual offender. I mean, he would have to be your sponsor and be responsible for you, right? How will you get a visa when he doesn't have a job? Also, he's a freaking pedo. How can you stand to be near this garbage human being? My advice is get a divorce and run. Man, there's a good chance he goes to jail. And then where are you stuck? That's a lot of risk considering how dependent you currently are on him. I'd care about your finances, but if you wanna keep the mugs and books, you could start mailing them one by one to your relatives back home. Might be way too expensive though. It's definitely gonna be, but still probably much cheaper than dealing with everything else that has happened. My sister said she'd help lol. Not the books, scared face. I mean, it wasn't just cheating, he sought out a minor. That is more than concerning. He did know her age, right? Anyways, you've got this Op. Enjoy your ice cream and video games. My point exactly, crying face, crying face, crying face. He said he found out her age after the nudes but before he drove to meet her, so, woman shrugging, woman shrugging. Thank you, it was a great day in my book. We hope that by sharing these stories with interested folks like you, we can help people recognize the signs of a relationship in trouble, and avoid so many of these heartbreaking situations yourselves. Have a good day or night, wherever you are.